I've started recording. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
You have to respond, unmute yourselves, make sure you are in environment.
Good afternoon.
If your environment is disturbing, please you mute your own while others can respond. And then because the class will always be interactive, it's an interactive session. It's not a lecturing, where we brainstorm and get ourselves across and make sure that we get the best for ourselves. Is there any new person here who has not been following us since inception? Any person?
Yeah.
Who is that?
I started last meeting.
Huh?
Yeah.
You have to put on your video. We have rules. Now listen, we have rules. Well, you are 8-3, you are putting a chat somewhere there. The 834 and EDU823 has not been facilitated. Well, I would say, well, but it's not, they are not my courses. They are not among the courses allocated to me. I've tried as much as I could to ensure that all the courses allocated to me are being facilitated. And this is our 4th week since we started a facilitation exercise. But I will try to carry a message to the appropriate portal to ensure that they will notify the lecturers in charge of that facilitation exercise. Sorry about that.
You. Oh, thank you, sir.
In our usual manner, if you know that you are Evelyn Eshioyela, there is noise coming from your end, please mute yourself. We have started, and I believe it has been going on well. Last week we had a topic, and I would like someone to briefly remind us the topic which we had last week. Please, can someone remind us the topic? You can use your hand raise up, or you use the icon on the bottom toolbar to indicate. Then while we proceed, okay, I can see Chuku Angela. You have the virtual space now.
Okay, sir. The topic for last week was models of human resource management.
This Evelyn Eshiola, I've muted you. You keep on unmuting yourself. I will send you to. Evelyn Eshiola, if you unmute yourself again with the noisy background, I send you to waiting room till we close. Please. Go ahead.
Sir, the topic for last week facilitation was models of human resource management.
Good. Models of human resource management. And I will advise those of us whose videos are not on to ensure that you put on your videos. That's the ethics of this class. And you must try as much as you could. Your class has been doing so well. You don't need to deviate from the given ethics at this particular moment. If your environment is noisy, you mute yourself, but make sure your video is on. Very important. So we talked about models of human resource management last week. How many of them are we able to talk about that last week?
We talked about four of them.
4 of them.
Yes.
Number 1 is what?
Form model of human resource management.
Raise your hand up to avoid chorus answer. Yes, Chinyere Alaribe.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we talked about 4 of them. The first one is the Harvard HRM. That is the human resource model, which has about 4 components. We also talk about the Harvard. Harvard have about 6 components, and the other 2, which are the Warwick and the story. We now went ahead to say that the Harvard method is more elaborate.
Model.
The model, yes, the Harvard model is more elaborate. It is wide. That is where the story model is derived from.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. You have given us the abridge of last week lesson. Please let us clap for her. It is not easy to recap what we have done. I say clap for her if you are not enemy of progress.
We are not enemy of progress.
Myself, I'm clapping for her.
Thank you, Prof.
Clap for her. It's only those that are enemy of progress will not clap for somebody who has done well. So it's very, very important when you clap for people, before you know it, your time will come, people will clap for you. So you have done well, Alaribe, Immaculata. That's very good of you. It shows that you really follow the class. And I believe that most of us too follow the class. Sam. Today, we are going to look into the topic which will center on recruitment process. And this recruitment and selection processes is what we are going to look at today. And of course, the primary objective of what we are going to look at will be to outline the steps organizations take in recruitment exercise, state the components of employment interview, and then state the methods of staff selection after the interview is conducted. These are the objectives on which our interaction in today's class will be based upon. And of course, when we are talking about recruitment and selection processes in any organization, I would like us to brainstorm on this from our individual experiences. How many of us just use by raise of hands icon? How many of us are working presently? Use the icon bar to show by raising up your hand. Okay. Only how many of us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 of us are working. What of the rest? You are businessmen and women. All right. Okay. Raise down your hand. Put your hands down. Click on your raise hand button. It will still release your hand. Then your hand is down. This is how to manage some of these resources and app you see on your system. Chukwu Angela, still raise down your hand. All right, that's good of you. Now, we have seen those who are working. How many of us are self-employed? Maybe you are a sole proprietor or proprietress. Raise up your hand. No. You are a housewife.
No.
You are a housewife. The remaining ones are housewives or house husbands. You know, we have house husbands. Those, their husband don't, the men, they don't do anything from morning till night. They stay at home, be nursing the babies while their wife will go out. But that's not what the Bible says. So I hope there is no house husband here.
At all.
Reverend Father,
It
are
doesn't
you sure
exist.
you will not? You will use spiritual eye to tell us if we have house husband. God forbid we will have house husband.
Yeah. It
All
doesn't
right.
exist in this group.
In this group, we don't have in this group, I'm sure.
Yes. No.
The knowledge I want to draw from the questions I put before us is that if you are working, you did not just get in there and started working. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before you work, before they employ you, who can tell us the processes you underwent before your employment letter was given to you? Yes, that's Chukwu Angela again. I want another person. Or are you saying that it's only Chukwu Angela that has your brain here? Adiola Oyeronke, Adedeji. Yes?
Yes, sir. The first thing is that you get a notification of an advert requesting for the submission of CVs in a particular professional area. Then the second step is to apply by submitting your CV into the organization. If the CV is found qualified, you'll be shortlisted for an interview. Depending on the level of interview, maybe there will be a first interview, maybe the preliminary interview. If you are able to scale through, then the person will be called in, will be employed, and the terms and conditions of the job structure will be given to the person.
That's wonderful. Any other person, raise down your hand. Adiola, raise down your hand. Beautiful. Billy Keys, do you have anything to add?
Yes, sir, it's almost the same thing.
Speak direct to your mic. Speak direct to your mic so that we can hear you.
From my side, we have to buy forms, filled up forms before they call us. After calling us, we wrote handwritten application. Then we send our CV for verification. They call us for interview.
All right. You see, the bottom line of what we have grabbed here is that employment does not come like that. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
There will be place for advertisement,
Yeah.
indicating the various vacancies that are being in existence, or that they want to occupy them with the rightful people in the right positions. Now, when we now talk about, please, those of you I just admit now, when you come in, just mute yourself. except you know that your environment is noiseless, so that you not disturb us. All right. So if you now write your application, then with your CV, just like as our sister said, if you are found wanting by the personnel department, they will now shortlist you for interview, where you will go and prove yourself, your ability, your capability. And thereafter, they will now shortlist those that will be recruited, depending if they have got exactly what they wanted. Otherwise, if not, they may decide to conduct other interviews, depending. It varies from one organization and another. That is to bring us to the recruitment process. In other words, what we are saying is that the recruitment process begins with consideration of number and types of vacant posts needed to be filled, and the sources of personnel or skills needed for filling them to be advertised. So if you talk about the office of the principal, for example, you will not go and bring somebody who does not have knowledge of that position to fill in. That might all boil down to putting square peg in round hole. Now, if you want a principal for your school, you will now look at the qualifications will also be used to back it up. Then, if what they want is a driver, they will specify the qualities they need from such an applicant. So when that is done, before anything called interview or field practice will be applied. Now, for internal sources, posting or transfers or promotion can also be effected. And when you talk about these external sources, there may be need to start with advertisement of a kind as the first step, depending. Then the advertisement itself should, of course, contain the adequate information about the job content, qualifications, and the experience. Other conditions as well will be met. So after shortlisting, that is the recruitment process goes with shortlisting. And when you talk of shortlisting, you now begin to think of what shortlisting is all about, because people, individual students or applicants, would have been assembled. They don't need to see you. Your CV is speaking for you. Then they will sort them out and then know the people to invite. And of course, it's not everyone who applied will be shortlisted if all things being equal, if done on free and fair ground. Except sometimes you see recruitment processes not following the due process. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
There are some organizations that will bring somebody because they know the person, or someone influential is bring, they will bring the person and then the person will not even do part of the job. That is that. Have sat above said there. I can see you plateau there. What's the reason behind that? Yes, both of you are students. Unmute and talk to us. Unmute. Click on the mute.
Background is noisy.
Huh?
Our background is noisy. There's no way.
I said, why two of you are there? The other person does not have device, or not a student, or your daughter. Huh? Okay, it's all right. It's all right. Mute yourself and listen. We have to know, and we need to ask the question because our screen is being recorded. Now, shortlisting, after the advert has been made, applications will be received, applicants will be shortlisted. Remember, what we are talking about here is on recruitment process. What is shortlisting? After we have said it severally, after many applications must have been received, and of course, it may not be possible to invite every applicant who applied for the job, then those who merited the criteria for shortlisting will be shortlisted. Then after that, another process that is involved is called preliminary interview. And preliminary interview can be conducted after a shortlisting exercise or in place of shortlisting exercise. Preliminary interview is of course superior to shortlisting in several ways. In the first instance, preliminary interviews will simply enable the employers or their recruitment officers to see the applicants personally, so that both physical and emotional disposition of applicant will be assessed. What am I trying to say here? Do you agree with me that sometimes before you employ somebody, take for example, you want to employ the receptionist of your organization?
Hello?
Who can tell us why preliminary interview will be appropriate here? And you know that when we talk of preliminary interview, we are laying emphasis on the physical appearance of the applicant. Someone is putting on here no audio. Can't you hear me?
Can hear you, sir. Okay, now, sir. I can hear you now, sir.
Who is writing no audio before? Check your device.
I can hear you now. I was not getting you initially, but I can hear you now.
When others can hear me, pray for your device. So.
Thank you, sir. I can hear you now.
All right. So when I was trying to ask a question, what will make it very, very important that preliminary interview will take place in case an organization need to employ a receptionist, for instance? The position is for receptionist. Who can tell me why preliminary interview will be very, very necessary here?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I think preliminary interview may be very necessary for an organization that wants to employ a receptionist. They want to check his mode of dressing because he will sit at the front desk. So his mode of dressing, they will observe at the preliminary interviews. And also, some organization may consider even the height of the applicant. Another criteria to check.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex, Andrew, for that, your contribution. It's a wonderful one. Let me go in this order. Emmanuel Ojoma, Ata.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. The position of a receptionist in an organization is a very important position because he is like the eye of that organization, in the sense that he or she welcomes people who come to see either the director or those in charge. And so he or she will be assessed physically, her physical disposition, emotional disposition, and even the psychological disposition, and how effective he or she can communicate with people. So that interview will be very, very important for the post of a receptionist in any organization.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Any other contribution among those raising hand? Adiola? Yes?
Yes, sir. The physical completeness of the receptionist must be ensured because that's the first contact of in the organization. Anyone that comes in will be seeing her first. She's the first contact and she's representing the organization. Also, her personal attributes must also be ensured because that will measure how hospitable she is and every other personal attributes.
Okay, that's beautiful. In other words, you concur with what Emmanuel Ojoma said, and then with your own contribution in attendance. Yeah, those who did not put on their videos, I will not ask them questions. That's the rule of the class. I will now ask Ewat Otobong.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for this opportunity once again.
Thank you, sir.
Just to add my voice to what my colleagues have said, the receptionist is said to be the face of the organization. So thereby, the comportment of the person is the key factor to determine what the organization stands for, and also it serves as a demonstration to people who will be having to assess their organization for one need or the other.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. You people are wonderful. Let's clap for ourselves for the wonderful answers. Let's clap for ourselves. Sometimes when I say we clap for ourselves, it's not childish. It's not meant for only those in kindergarten class and primary school. It's part of reinforcement. It's reinforcer. Since I don't have money to send online now, I would have sent $10,000 to every one of you responding well, you know? So, but at least we can clap for ourselves, you know? That is so good. I must sincerely appreciate all of you. Your class is wonderful. And you will see the dividend you will reap from the time of your exam. You will call me on phone and tell me what your result will look like. So that is why you have to pay attention. That's the end of it. You see, if you get a wrong personnel as your receptionist, it can kill the organization unknowingly to you.
True.
You will, if you see someone who is always frowning, maybe the person's heart is pure, good, but the face is always hard. That's why if you go to some organizations, they usually make use of females as their receptionist. Reason because men are facing a lot of challenges that can affect them psychologically and emotionally from time to time. But because women are there to be eating, in most cases, I know some people want to talk now. Adeola want to challenge this one. That some women too are the one feeding the men in the. Eh?
Yes, sir.
So, but go and check. In most organizations, they will use women looking, having height, face beautiful, like all these beautiful faces I'm seeing here. In fact, if I have had any organization to employ people, I will submit all your names to be employed. In fact, even as members of directors and this thing. This Evelyn, I've told you not to unmute yourself. Your network is so bad, I can't understand. You don't pray very well before you come to class today. Always pray before you do anything. Pray in your own way. Whether Christian, Muslim, or anyone, pray before you do anything. All right. Now we have got why preliminary interview is important. And it's not only for the office of receptionist, it's applicable.
Yes.
Sometimes you use that. Some people's CV might be okay, but when you look at other variables associated with that position being advertised, you will now see that that person CV is okay, but may not be okay on the job. So with the preliminary interview, which is higher than shortlisting, ordinary mere shortlisting, you now see why the person should be eventually brought in again for another set of interview. Chukwu Angela, do you have anything to tell us there?
Yes, sir. So I want to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you say that the aptitude test is a form of preliminary interview? Writing aptitude test.
Yes, it can be. An aptitude test is part of it. You know that when you come to write, first of all, you will see some people that will ask you some questions. When you will be filling some forms and all that, people are looking. Sometimes they may decide to delay giving you the form on time. They may decide to do one thing that will provoke you. And immediately you will now see those that are highly erratic. They will start to complain. What is delaying us here? Are you not giving us even anything to start eating? And you are keeping us? I've used that to disqualify some people. One time I conducted an interview for one organization, school in particular. I deliberately did it. From there, you will now see those that will be ringleaders in the school. They will gang up and decide leaving your school overnight, and your school will collapse. Is it not true? So, aspect of preliminary interview, you can say that aptitude test is part of it, because that time it will make them to come. You will see them physically when they want to write. That will be face-to-face, a non-virtual aptitude test anywhere, because now we can meet virtually or meet face-to-face. What we are talking about is the face-to-face approach of meeting people during recruitment process. Now, when you have now get all the necessary information needed, you now see that you can go on ahead with them. I've told you that another one will be employment interview. The employment interview usually come at the shortlisting or preliminary interview stage. Almost all the unqualified or the undesirable must have been eliminated. We call this stage eliminating stage at the preliminary. Just like in the game of football. I know this one now, most men will be able to answer me here. You know, when you are playing tournament, there is preliminary stage. Am I right?
Yes.
Very true. Yes.
At that point, you know, it's elimination. So those that will not have the desirable points, they will be dropping on their own. Nobody will tell them to drop. So the same thing happens in recruitment process. At that preliminary stage, those that need to be dropped will be dropped before the main interview. Then the main interview, it will take various forms. And after that, you now talk of placement. In fact, where very many of them must have done well, you now think of using other parameters to still drop people in order to get to the number you want. Take, for example, in your organization, maybe you need 2 staff to be employed. And the aptitude test, all of them have scored from 70%, 80, 90 something. You still need to sieve them. Do you know what you will do there? Who can tell us what can be done? Yes, can someone tell us what can be done from this live scenario? Whereby now they are now interviewed and their performances indicate that they have high scores. So how can you get, let's assume you need 3 staff to be employed among the lot. What next do you think you will do?
Yes, sir. For the opportunity that you have, for example, 10 people who are absolutely qualified, and you want to probably get 3 as you have directed, you could employ other methods like the quarter basis method. What state are they from? Not taking 2 people from the same state, like that. No.
Well, you know, my brother, this quota method, as far as I'm concerned, I don't subscribe to it. It makes organizations not to have the best at most times and create room for favoritism. In as much as quota system is working in Nigeria, it's not the best. We have to tell ourselves the truth. Let's assume people have written, any other person with any other idea, though we have got your own quota system can be adopted. Yes, another person. Adiola.
Yes, there can be a practical case presented to them on the job. How do they analyze it? Maybe like somebody that is into maybe audit or maybe conflict of interest, a manager. How do you handle a particular issue on the job, maybe involving your management or your superior? A practical question that you see how they will respond to it. Maybe they will be biased in their judgments and the like. Okay,
that's a very good one. Any other one before I recap? Ibrahim Abiola, you put on your video. Right? There is noise coming from your end.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
For me, I think we could apply the method of maybe we look at the kind of the number of experience, either any one of them have a number of experience on the kind of job or position they applied for.
All right.
From there, maybe you could now look your selection.
All right. All right. You can mute yourself. He's talking about bringing the logic on years of experience there. It's also good. You see, Adiola told us to bring a kind of practical life experience and ask them to analyze it and see how it goes on. And interview them individually will, of course, give you room to know this one will be better, the other one will be better, this one can handle it well. Because sometimes passing exam, written exam, may not be having the common sense application. Somebody can get A in an exam, but in terms of true life application may have 20. True or false?
You're very true, sir.
Huh?
You're true, sir. You're right, sir. You're right, sir.
So, and what the job demands is ability to deliver. Some may also have 10 years experience because they are rolling on the job and counting years, but they don't have anything to show for the number of years they have put in. True or false?
True.
True, sir.
True or false?
True.
Right, sir. You're right.
Do you know that some people can be 20 years experience on a job, but the knowledge they have grabbed and the impact they have made on their job is not up to 20%. Because one, they will go to work late, they will be number one to leave, no contribution to the organization positively. They will only be waiting for when alert will come to their phone. Such people, if actually you want to know their impact in that organization, you see that it is not synchronizable with the number of years they have put in there.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but when somebody can be like 4 years, but the impact the person has made in that organization, the experience the person has gathered, the skills the person has gathered on that job cannot be quantified. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
So sometimes looking at CV to say, this one has 15 years experience, therefore let me take this one, may not be the right rationale to use in selection. Because tomorrow, those of you who are taking this course, this is an advanced course, will be managers and directors in various organizations, not only in school system. Then you will be able to apply it in recruiting people for various firms. So practical experience, how do you do this? For instance, you want to employ someone who majored in computer, or who will be your ICT personnel. There is level it will reach. You will create a scenario and ask them to perform the task, hand on the job. Is it not?
It is.
From there, you will select someone who will be able to deliver with speed and accuracy will now come in there. So these are some of the things. Remember, we have said, who can mention now at a glance what we have said that are involved already based on what we have discussed in recruitment process? Who can mention some of the things we have, the points, the key points? We are not talking about the explanation now. Yes?
Shortlisting.
Yes, number one.
Preliminary
interview.
Yes.
Employment interview.
Beautiful. Please clap for yourselves again. I love this class. In fact, you will receive money you did not work for in your account.
Amen.
Somebody will call you, say, send me your account number. And, they will say, no matter how small, money is money. Amen. You people are wonderful people. I throw away my full salute.
Amen.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you too.
You are great.
Thank you, Doctor.
Amen.
I must let you know. So now there are principles that are involved in interviewing. a good interviewing requires certain basic principles or sort of guide or framework on which to base the assessment of candidates. And of course, there are 7-point plan developed by National Institute of Industrial Psychology, United Kingdom, and which was considered to be the first major framework universally applied. And those 7-point agenda was narrowed down by the one propounded by Mungo. And using the framework, they now streamline it into 5 principles, which will have first impression and physical makeup. You know, that is enshrined in what we call a preliminary interview. First impression and physical makeup. Qualification and expectations, brains and abilities, all these now have been incorporated in what we have said today. So far, so good. Motivation, adjustment. So this principle differs somehow from the other. Some people will talk about presentation setting. It depends, it varies. Any organization may decide to use the type of framework they will use in order to select the people they want to employ. And of course, when you conduct the interview, that's the real action. Both the interviewer and the interviewee, they will meet. And of course, the interviewer, that's the person who will be asking the question, will employ various strategies, make the interviewee to feel relaxed. And after that, there will be close evaluation assessment. And then the end of it, they will now place people on their various task roles. So you see that sometimes attitude of interviewer can make interviewee to fail. True of us?
Yes.
True.
There are some people that want to make you to believe that, you know, I'm the one in charge. Like as I'm teaching now, do you know that my attitude can make the class not to gain anything?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
If I come and I frown my face like this, and I will use big grammar. When you ask question, I say, hold on to your question. I will give you time to talk. Bring some mannerisms inside. You get fed up. You will only just be there because you want your attendance to count. Your mind will not be there. Psychologically, emotionally, you are not there. That's not teaching. And that is how we want you people to actually carry the flag to your various domains. Some people, because they are called to interview people, they see themselves as the Lord Almighty for that day. They will first of all frown their face. When the interview is just coming, he or she must have looked the face of the interviewer. Quickly, meeting a stone face, the person will do in the name of the Father. If it's those that believe in that, why will I scale through this? The mind already has cut off. Do you know you can make somebody fail interview?
Yeah, sure. That's true.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you are an interviewer, you have to assure your interviewee fairness. That is during the interviewing process. Assure them free, tell them, create scenario that will make them laugh. You see how lively our class is.
Absolutely.
So if we are
true.
teaching like this in our various domains, there is no how. Tomorrow, people find mathematics difficult because of the person who is teaching it. It's not that math itself is difficult. When I was teaching in primary school, till I became headmaster, taught in secondary school, became principal, and all the people I taught in GMAT, SAT, and TOEFL, Maths is number one, you must score A, because I will teach it in such a way that you will love maths than any other subject. So, but you see somebody who will come to teach the same subject, mathematics, and they will put fear in you. Whenever you hear the name maths, your heart is already caught. That's not the best. It's the same thing in interview. Make the interviewee to feel relaxed.
Relaxed.
Create a scenario. Let the best in the person come out. For instance, even among your children in the homes, you cannot get the best from your children if you don't make that your child feel free, feel to be part of decision taking in the home. Feel free. Let them know whether you have, you don't have. Incorporate them in home activities and assure them part of the home, that they are part of it. You will see them, they will behave better, even when you are not there. But if you bring that authoritative and autocratic lifestyle leadership, impose it on them, always give them bitter pill to be swallowing, you are simply producing those who will end up being maladaptive in nature. And they will be lawbreakers. We can see our officer here. If maybe now you interview him, okay, hey, what Otobon?
Yes, Prof. I'm humbled.
You are senior officer. So if you check those that are involved in criminality, ask them, the problem is from their family background. Most families, the way they bring up their children make them to become criminals. Some, the environment they find themselves, peer groups, a lot of influence, but family play major role. Apart from hereditary factor, the upbringing, where they're supposed to receive their training before coming to the public, matters a lot. So you see, the same thing goes down when we are talking of recruitment. So if you fail to make the environment free from all manner of distractions and fear, you may end up losing the best candidate who would have fit in for that job.
That's true.
So we should know this. After the interview process, you now close the interview and then select the best, assess, evaluate, put scores together, and then the best person is taken for the job without fear and favor. Definitely, that organization will keep on going well, because the best person, you get the best person on the job, you pay the person well, with all incentives, the person put the best. You will be free from, I beg to apply every time you will see advert, cleaner needed. That means that cleaner you employed before, you don't do the cleaner well. That's why he or she left for a better place. Is it true of us?
True.
How many of us are having those working for us? Do we treat them well?
Yes, sir.
If you know you are an employer of labor here, raise up your hand. Don't hide. We don't say give us money. If you're an employer of labor here, raise up your hand. Okay, senior officer, I know. How do you treat your workers?
Very fairly.
Okay, I trust you. Well done.
We
Keep
do
it up.
we do everything we can in accordance to the expectations of not only our organization, but the country at large. God bless you. Just keep it up. Just keep it up. Adiola, I know you are proprietress.
Sir.
Adiola, you are
There is
proprietress.
great motivation. I'm not a proprietress, but willing to be, sir. I'm praying to be. So we motivate them to enhance the productivity of the organization. Their welfare is number one. It's very key. Because with that, they will be able to put more, even more than you expect, into their productivity.
Thank you so very much. So with this, we can round off our today's class. Is there any contribution Is there any comment? Is there any question so that we can respond to them briefly as we round off? Any contribution, comment? Any comment on today's class? Yakin Ibrahim Shehu. Okay, have the virtual space. Unmute yourself. Unmute
Hello,
yourself.
sir.
Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for the lecture, sir. I want to ask, I don't know if it is possible for us to have the recording aspect of the class for us to...
Yes, sir. There is always class. Don't we have the recorded link in our course page?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Okay, that means you have not been either following us up since, but for point of clarification, let me attend to your case now.
All right, sir.
If you log on to your course page, it will demand from the site, it will demand your username and password.
Okay, sir.
When you get to your course page, click on the very course, for instance, EDA821. When you click on it, the course page pop-up menu will come up. Then you go to your right-hand side of your laptop. You will see a date setting. There is an icon that looks like pencil. Click on that thing. Towards the right top, you will see it. You click on that thing that looks like pencil. It will mark something like pencil on all the resources on your course page. So you will see the resource that is added to your course page called recordings of the previous class. Simply click on it. You will see all the recordings. The one for week 1, 2, and 3 classes, they're already there. After today's class, I will put that of today on there. The other courses I have done, so if you do like that, you'll be able to play back all the recordings of the live classes. But that does not mean that you should not be attending class, because attendance is compulsory in this year something. And then your videos also, if you want to watch videos, same process is what you will do by clicking on the right-hand part and then be able to do the needful. Is that okay?
Very clear, sir.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Any other question, comment, contribution? In the absence of that, see you next week by 1 p.m. Our class next week will be by 1 p.m. God bless you all.
And you too.
Thank you. You are all wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof.
Always keep your face smiling like this. So smiling like this whenever you are coming.